And with Ray Lee, coach of the Greenbrier East Spartans, and coach, it's another year. You got new turf out here on the field. Do you like the new turf?
I love the way it looks. Being out here, on media day, taking pictures, walking across it. Nice facility, soft, and it's a long time coming. The old turf was probably about 15, 16 years old. I want to give a shout out and thanks to our school board because they supplied the funds to get this done, and they knew it was needed. Also getting a new track. So all of that is a real enhancement to our athletic facility here.
It'll be a young Spartans team on the turf. You told me you have one 18-year-old, I think, and 9 licensed drivers. That's a young team.
It is a young team. When you come out and look in the parking lot and your parking lot's not full, and then you're seeing the others being dropped off or picked up, you got a fairly young football team. But as a coaching staff, we're gonna take what we got and really work with them. And I like their attitudes. Even the younger guys, their attitudes. The veteran guys, their attitudes are even better, where they're pushing these guys to, be a good football player and a good teammate.
Do you enjoy that aspect of getting everybody wants to have the veterans because that means you probably got a good chance to make a run. But as a coach, from a coaching aspect, do you enjoy having the younger guys that you can take and kind of mold?
Eventually they'll be veterans, and then what you try to build around are the veterans that's been in your program for a while. Getting the young guys to come in and look up to those older guys, and especially if those older guys are doing it right, then they know what's ahead of them. So when they get to that point also, taking those young guys when they come in and molding them as a coach, and I'll speak for myself, and I'm sure I'm probably speaking for some other coaches, when you get a young group of guys and you get them to stick together over that period of time to watch them mature along the way, not just in football, but also in academics, and they're starting to understand what that whole process is. And so as a coach, when they finally become a senior and they're a veteran, now they're passing that along to the younger guys also coming into your program. So you want to keep that cycle going with your standards and expectations, and then that's how you build that with the veteran guys also.
One of the guys that you had was visible as graduated, Monquel Davis, was a guy who was in there at the quarterback spot last 2 or 3 years. Will you feel it like that, or are you looking for a guy that back him up? How are you going to fill that quarterback spot?
Pretty much the same way. We can go back, as far back as Jonathan Carr, even further back with Isaiah Kinder. I can name off some of the quarterbacks that started with me. Isaiah was the first quarterback I had here, and then Jonathan Carr followed him. Then you had Kyle King and Devin Persinger that followed Jonathan, and then after Kyle King you had Monquel. Now we got the young man here, Brody Hamrick. So each time a quarterback comes through and they're at least playing 2 or 3 years for us and starting, that quarterback that's behind them gets to see how to be a leader, how to be a quarterback, what it takes to play quarterback in the football program here. And that's what you try to build. You just try to build that cycle of mindset where when it's time for their turn to step up, they know how to be a leader.
Is Brody Hamrick a dual threat quarterback? Monquel was probably one of the best dual threat options in this area. Is he the same mindset, pass and run?
He can. His strength is basically leading the football team. You may not think it as a sophomore, he has that capability, but as a sophomore, man, he has stepped up to become that leader that the guys really look up to and respect. And then when it's time for him to take charge, he takes charge, of the huddle. He can throw the football, throws the ball well, and if he has to run it, he'll run it. In that one game he got in down at Lincoln, he ended up being player of the game at the end of the game. He threw for a touchdown pass and ran for one.
You got to like seeing that, a guy giving given a good opportunity. I think Monquel was hurt at the end of the year, getting that real opportunity to play and then seizing it.
Right, and he took the advantage of it, and that's kind of like the mindset we try to put our young men in. It's your turn now. When your turn is called, that's your opportunity, and we tell them, don't be afraid to be great. Greatness is not something you can open a can and become. It's the work that you put in, and it's what you do once you're given that opportunity. So when that opportunity arises, we want them to feel like, hey, I can be great out here, and then you work and play like that.
Through different circumstances, you're going to have that opportunity in the backfield. Who are some of the guys you're looking back there to step up and take that opportunity? Because it's probably going to be guys that haven't got a lot of chance up to this point.
We got 2 or 3 names we can call, and they got some playing time. Last year, got Carter Hamilton. We're gonna count on him a lot. We got Nate Suttle that we're gonna count on. Nate Suttle's a sophomore. Carter's a senior. We have some wideouts that's gonna be new at it. Caden Stone's gonna be new at it. We got Abram Wickline. He's a senior, but got some playing time last year, and we're counting on him at the wideout spot and possibly playing him as some running back also. So we got some young men that's ready to step up and take advantage of the opportunities that's presented to them.
One guy that's not new at it is Aiden Cole, your center, I think, and also defensive starter. You told me he's made 22 straight starts. So he's a guy, with all the change swirling around, he's the stability there. How key is he going to be? I know, skilled position players get a lot of the notoriety just simply because they score the touchdowns and get the yardage. But how important will a guy like Aiden Cole be to you?
You can't. Everything starts with the snap, and Aiden has started for us at the center spot.
That's a lot of snaps.
That's a lot of snaps. Ever since his sophomore year, and has started every game since his sophomore year. So being a leader like that in that position, playing with some guys like Jacob Wickline and JT Spencer, Landon Hayes, having seniors like that he played with, that's going to make a real big difference with him. And Seth Fogus was another one of those seniors. That year, he was the only underclassman on the line, and that was a pretty good offensive line.
That 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago, and that was a pretty good line. And here he was, the only underclassman on that line. So he has a lot of guys to look up to, like what we're talking about now,
right,
is building those leaders. So he's ready to take charge, and he's coaching those younger guys now. And we have another veteran young man on our line, Garen Wiseman. So we got some young guys on the front line. We got 2 sophomores that'll be starting on the offensive line also.
Coach, when you're talking about a young team, oftentimes it's defense where it shows up more than maybe offense. It seems like offense players are developing a lot quicker now. How do you look on defense? Is that one of the main concerns with all the loss of players?
We're going to be young in the secondary. Up front, we'll have a couple guys going both ways. Carter will go both ways, Carter Hamilton. Aiden Cole will go both ways. James McCraw, he'll probably end up going both ways on the line. And then when you start talking about the linebacker spot, we got a veteran there. He'll be a senior, Weston Pence. He's a hard-nosed, player that we got there, and plays downhill, fairly well. So secondary-wise, we're going to be young. We're going to end up playing some guys, that hadn't played positions before. We got Rob Bennett that'll probably end up playing some defensive end for us. Grant Burdett, that's another young man that we got that's going to be a starter as a sophomore, probably playing both ways at defensive end and tight end. And I'll just tell you, Dave, that'll be one to kind of look out for in the future. Is Grant Burdett. He's going to be a real good football player.
Now, Coach, we've known each other for a while now, and I would be remiss if I did not get out of here without, and you know what it's going to be. Do you have a fullback of the week, Coach?
Yeah, let me see. I'm going to have to start digging and watching a little bit more. I'm just old school when it comes to the fullback, and I think everybody is kind of getting away from it. But
Do you have one here?
Do I have one
fullback
here?
in your offense?
We'll probably use fullback would be Carter Hamilton, and whenever we go into our two-back set, and probably Grant Burdette.
Does a true fullback have a neck roll?
No. This I don't think this group would even know what.
But the old school.
The old school would know about it. Yeah. No. None of our guys here have a neck roll.
Is the neck roll even in football anymore?
You'll see one every now and then.
I bet when you see one that gets you pumped up.
Yeah. And especially if he's using it right.
You use. I know you're kind of a Robert Newhouse guy.
Yeah.
Larry Zonka type.
Yeah.
Any other? Give me a fullback of the week.
I'm gonna give you one people probably don't even know exists or it did exist. How about Emerson Boozer?
Miami? Did he play for Miami for a while or no?
No, I think he was with the Jets pretty much though.
In '69, Super Bowl year.
Oh, yeah.
I think he scored a Super Bowl touchdown.
I think so.
That's a good one, Coach. I appreciate it. Hey, Ray, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks, Dave, for being here.